August 8th, 2026. Dear patient me, how good are you at waiting for something you truly want? Do you sit quietly, or do you remind yourself of what is to come? For me, it depends on what it is. So, my child is no longer a child today. She turned 18. And I waited up until midnight just so that I could wish her a happy birthday. That was easy. When I am thirsty and I want a cold drink, I put it in the freezer and I wait. That's easy. When I want my Starbucks drink perfectly cold, not so patient. I am learning that it depends on what it is that defines my patience. If you were to tell me that I had to go into a classroom with 10 toddlers who are hungry, I can handle that without any problem. Patient, kind, loving, I can do that. If you were to ask me to do the same thing for adults, that would try my patience. And I was curious as to what's the difference? What makes me tolerate patience for one and not the other? And I think that it's about the enjoyment of the situation. I enjoy working with kids, so being patient with them makes sense. I enjoy my Starbucks, but I'm thirsty. It's a need at that point. I have to have it. Not so patient. But I'm the same way with people. Today, I got up, and it's Saturday, so as you know, it's chore day. And I started my laundry. I made breakfast for me and the dogs. Everyone was still in their rooms. No big deal. And then I sat down to do some work. I took an inventory of all the pins that I own, and guys, I own a lot of pins. I didn't recognize how bad it was until I took the pictures today. And then I was like, oh, that's pretty bad. But still, my day went on. And then I went back there to do another set of laundry, and I needed the bedding, and my husband was still laying down. And he told me he was going to get up at 2:30ish, so I had to wait. And I was a little annoyed, but again, it's whatever. It's laundry. I own a wash machine and dryer. It's not going anywhere. So I waited till he got up, and then I did the laundry. And then I went to talk to him about the budget I did yesterday. Sorry, my eye's bothering me. I wanted to talk to him about the budget I did yesterday, and so I asked him about that. And we're supposed to be switching offices, so this won't be my background anymore. And he didn't want to do that today. And I'm one of those, once my mind gets set on something, I just want to do it. I gotta get it done. And it isn't that the importance of it changes. It's just I hyper-focus and I decide that, oh my gosh, I need to get it done immediately. But since we're switching offices, it requires 2 of us moving stuff. And he said we'll do it tomorrow. Okay? And then I came back to my office to do some work, and he must have noticed a funny look on my face. Because he goes, "Are you okay?" Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. But are you okay? And I said, well, I'm a little bothered. Because I understand he's starting a business. I get that. 100%. And I get that right now he's really hyper-focused on starting a business. And I'm happy for him. However, that still doesn't mean things get skipped in the household. And I was explaining to him as, hey, I'm starting a business too. I'm also working outside the home. That doesn't change that food needs to be cooked and laundry needs to get done and the house needs to get cleaned. He's like, well, what do you want me to do? And I just kind of rattle off, like, the bathrooms need to get cleaned, floors need to get swept, so on and so forth. Oh, okay, I'll get to that tomorrow. And so now, tomorrow consists of cleaning, cooking, and switching offices. And instead of getting upset, I had the conversation and then I let it go. I don't know what it is lately, but I have been doing much better in regards to how I approach my husband. Our relationship is still not anywhere that I want it to be, but I think my patience has gotten better with the situation. I do not pretend that I'm not the problem in my relationship. I'm not the only problem, but I am part of the problem. I can acknowledge that. And sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around what I actually need to work on. Patience is a big one. I like things my way. I want them when I want them. I want them how I want them. If I say load the dishwasher, I expect the dishwasher to be loaded the way that I want it to be loaded in the time that I need it to be loaded in. Versus he'll get to it when he gets to it. So part of the process that I was doing yesterday was meal planning. And I am really good at being a meal planner when it's hypermania, when I just want to get in the kitchen and make 18 different meals at once. I'm great at that. But by the time the end of the week comes around, I don't want to eat the food. So this time I'm trying something different. And I said, maybe instead of, hey, we're going to have this meal, it's this is the protein for the day. Cook around it. So I was telling my husband that that's my new plan, and he agreed that made much more sense. That we could see that, okay, tonight's chicken, what are we going to make with chicken? So we're going to try that. And I'm really excited to try it because I feel like that's more in tune with my family needs than it is to say we're having chicken piccata or chicken tortilla soup. Like, the more specific it is, the more likely I'm not to stick with the plan. Versus chicken, I can make all kinds of different meals with chicken. I get to decide what I want just with that protein. So I'm giving that a shot. And then I went over the budget with him and I explained to him like what that looks like. And I just found myself to be really patient today. I'm taking my time and I'm enjoying my day. I enjoyed some ice cream, which was delicious because it's 90-something degrees out here. Feels like 100 and something. And I enjoyed my breakfast. And I spent time hanging out with my dogs outside before it got too hot. And I have plans tonight to sit down and relax and watch a movie. And I'm not in a rush for any of it. I'm just kind of waiting to enjoy it. Now, the one thing I can say that I'm not patient about for sure is my birthday. My birthday is in a month. And I am ecstatic. Am I doing something special for my birthday? Nope. Am I getting something special for my birthday? Not likely. But I love having my birthday come around. I am one of those rare adults. I don't mind getting older. And I like celebrating me. I don't ever do anything big. I mean, at this point, I'm usually working. But the fact that it's my day, yes, I recognize I share it with billions of other people, but it's my day. It's my birthday. I get to choose what I eat. I get to choose where I go. I get to choose what I do in your thought processes, but you get to do that every day. You're an adult. It's different. It hits different on my birthday. So I am extremely impatient when it comes to my birthday. I have probably been talking about my birthday since June. My poor husband's birthday is in June, and that's all he's heard. My kid's birthday's in July, and it was like, hey, it's your birthday. You know what we're closer to? My birthday. There's just some things in life that aren't worth being patient for. I think things like Christmas and birthdays and holidays. It's really easy to get swept up in not being patient for those things. They mean so much. For a lot of us, they evoke a lot of good feelings. And then there's those who don't celebrate those things in a positive way. And I imagine for them, it's a dread for that time to come on. And I get that too, because as much as Christmas is my favorite holiday, Christmas is hard for me. Thanksgiving is hard for me. It's nowhere near what I thought it would be as an adult. I would love to go home and spend time with my dad and my siblings and enjoy a meal together, but that's not likely. So on those holidays, I think I throw myself into making it big and bright for those around me, so I don't have to worry about those I don't have around me. But, you know, it works. I just find that some things that I'm patient about don't make a lot of sense. I am married, and I still feel like I'm being patient on someone to find me to be the one that they love, the one they want to run away with. I feel like I'm waiting for someone to not sweep me off my feet, but to decide that they want a forever life with me. I'm married, and I feel like I'm still waiting for that. I chose my husband, and I still feel like I'm waiting for my forever? Patiently? I am patiently waiting for someone to want me the way that I want them. But what does that actually mean? Because we always say that treat people like you treat yourself. Or like you would treat yourself. And I treat others fairly well. But that's not necessarily reciprocated. And I find that I'm often waiting for it to be reciprocated. And that's, to me, different than saying, like, oh, I did something nice for you because I expect you to do something nice for me. Because I do understand that concept. And I think that's a horrible way to go about that. It's not so much that I expect something to be done for me, but I expect to be loved, wanted, appreciated. So I just sit patiently and I wait. Today, I was super excited that it's my kid's birthday, and I'm super excited that it's a brother's birthday. And I'm going to message him here after I'm done with my podcast. And I am happy for my kiddo because she gets to go spend the night at her family's house. And she told me about it, and as excited as I am about it for her, my heart dropped a little bit. Then I have to remember, she's not my baby, but she's my baby. You know? But it's okay. I want her to go and have a great time. I want her to enjoy her sisters and her family. And I will patiently wait for her to come back and tell me how great it was, how much she enjoyed herself, what it feels like to be an adult. You know, all the things that we were so impatient about as kids, and now that it's here, we're just like, ugh. Can we go back? Can we redo this? We were so impatient to have so much more responsibility, and now that we have it, no thank you. I oftentimes wonder that if I had been patient about that, would my life have turned out differently? I don't think so. I don't think I was meant to be patient to grow up. I think that I was meant to get out of that position that I was in. And as much as I may struggle now, I can't imagine going back to a time where I wasn't thriving. It's just weird, you know? The things that we wait for, the things that mean so much to us, the things that we love. Today, I am banging my head against the wall because I am trying to get this cover done for my journal that has been done for a while now, but meticulously the cover has to be perfect. In which we say it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done. And I know that. And it's close to being done. And I'm excited. And I think that's why I am so hesitant because I know how close it is to being done, and then that means I have to put it out there and people are going to see it and they're going to either be like, why? Or like, hey, I see where this is going. And so it's so much easier just to nitpick at the things so that I don't have to have it ready yet. So I'm patiently waiting for myself to get over that. And if I have my way tonight, it'll go live. And I will let you guys know that tomorrow. You could also check my website and it will tell you if it's live. But I have been waiting for something that has felt like mine. Like me. For a long time now. And I found it in the oddest of places. I found it in doing a podcast where I thought I would never show my face. I found it in taking in children who I never thought I'd have. I found it in creating all these things. That was weird. Creating all these things that just kind of pop in my head, that flow through my fingers. I'm patiently becoming the person that I want to be. And I like that. We talk about writing your story. And I feel like each day, I honestly write a new page of my story. And each day, it gets a little bit better. Each day, I become more of my hero. More of the person I desire to be. And that doesn't mean that I don't have setbacks. That's where patience comes in. Where I have to remind myself that just because it's one bad day, doesn't mean it has to be like that forever. But I am patiently waiting to find out just how great I am. Just how well I can do things. Just what I can accomplish. And I hope that somewhere you're listening thinking, you know, I've been patient in learning who I am as well. And I'm ready. I'm ready to know who I am. And become this person that I know I can be. I'm glad you're on the ride with me. I'm excited. I am nervous, but I'm happy. And I'm very grateful for you. So, just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. And before you close your journal tonight, ask yourself, what was your bite of pie today? Until tomorrow, love you loud.